Like mind you, I got sent this link. I woke up like not even a couple hours ago. I don't know what's going on. I don't know anything. All I know is that I'm looking at a global labs change, and apparently there is a final like patch or something that's coming at some point. I didn't even read this shit. And adding grabs to all classes, and then they go on to say grabbing is the most powerful of like status ailments. And since there are so many variables due to it, the intention is to make sure to control this part. For example, in the case of classes that are strong in movement, such as warriors and Meiwas, mind you, this is a mistranslation. Musa in Korean is translated to warriors. They are referring to Musa, not warrior. Don't freak out. It's not that big a deal. I don't know how people have still fell for that shit. It's been like 5 years. They've been calling Musa warrior since 1942. All right, relax. Their strength and movement needs to be nerfed if they are given a grab. So we are considering various methods. Okay, so I don't even care about like 90% of this other garbage, but from what I understand, they plan to change like super armors and forward guards to like give more forward guards instead of super armors, for the sake of like, oh, if you're grinding, you need to be tankier, and instead of giving up, you know, classes super armors or whatever, you give them forward guards so that way they can be absorbing damage instead of just taking reduced damage. Because, you know, sometimes if you're Eva or whatever and your DP is still low, whenever you do get hit, you actually get hit. And same thing goes for if your DR is very low, when you get hit, you get fucking hit. So it's better to have a decent block rather than have, you know, a super armor chain that's just going to, you know, take consistent damage, especially if your gear does not meet the requirements, which in some cases you can get away with that kind of thing. But I don't think they're considering the PvP aspect. Like it's like they have completely forgotten. Like this game it has PvP. Like they've completely forgotten this shit. Mind you, the whole grabbing thing, I don't really care about this because that shit makes no difference to me. Like I'm a block class and I play Zerker, so it's like I've been grabbing since the dawn of times. That makes no difference to me if other classes have a grab. I fight grab classes all the time. It's not a big deal. It's like that I can get over. But I feel like the problem with this is that like you would be changing a lot of classes' movements and things that they have been like doing for years. And you're not going to try and convince me that, like, you know, that you're going to keep Sorks, for example, like they're going to iframe, you know, fucking grab your neck with the scythe. Like you're not going to convince me that you're going to keep that. There's a lot of class identities that are going to get completely destroyed. Well, not necessarily destroyed, but like changed drastically to where I don't know that people would have that much fun with it, nor fun fighting it per se. And just giving grabs to everybody is the strangest shit I've ever heard. Like I said, it really doesn't make a difference to me because like it doesn't matter. Like fighting a grab class it's whatever. It's how you are going to have to basically rework. What do you have? 30 classes in this fucking game? Yeah, like it's like 20 some odd classes that you would essentially have to literally examine hand by hand every single piece of their kit, which you've already proven, PA, multiple times that you are not exactly the most competent company to examine kits. You guys are not good at this shit. You barely listen to the community. You don't even fucking read half the skills. There's still typos in a lot of abilities and skills. You cannot convince me that you are going to hand roll through every single class and look at it and be like, you know what? Yes, that needs a grab. And then you are somehow going to change that class in a drastic measure to where a grab fits into their kit, because there are a lot of classes, as you've even pointed out here, that, you know, Musas and Meiwas, their entire movement is just super armor dash, 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 dash. And then like what, you just fucking infinitely dash an SA and then grab somebody? Like, come on now. What the hell? This is a change that makes absolutely no sense, okay? The way that you get around this whole grabbing thing, take protections away. Stop with this garbage and giving everybody a million protections, okay? The forward guard change is actually good because the SA thing, like honestly, in my opinion, SAs, they gotta go, bro. Like they gotta go. I gotta be honest, like every class, if they're gonna have an SA, like 1 to 2, that's like it. Like maybe at best, like 1. fuck it, just one, and then the rest do like a forward guard or some shit, or like I don't know, like you figure something out. But like it feels like adding grabs to every single class is such a lazy cop out to just trying to figure out how to balance your game that you've created such a horrifyingly bad balancing idea, because like this doesn't work. There's not a single game out there that is like, you know what, let's just give everybody this base thing that nullifies this other thing. Because you got to understand, grabs exist to counter certain things, right? Like they are to counter things, right? So let's say, for example, like a guardian, right? She's guarding and she's just holding block and she's just, you know, SA guard. Same thing for warrior, same thing for Valkyrie, or any of those classes that are really heavy and susceptible to grabs. You got to understand, the grabs are in the game to counter those things. So a striker grab, for example, a striker is like, you can grab a warrior or Valkyrie as a striker very easily, super easily. You can do it, you know, just rampaging into somebody and just fucking grip them up, drag them on the floor, bada bing, done. Fucking mass destruction to the side, boom, fucking stun grab, done. And then like Valkyrie, I mean, it's there, like they exist to counter those things, right? So if everybody has a grab, that just means that all those block classes that have a block are what? They're just nullified now? Like what's the point of having a block anymore now? Because that was kind of like, you know, if every class has a way to get around a block in terms of just grabbing them up, then well, what's the point of the block? You know what I'm saying? It kind of defeats the purpose of that existing. It's like, it's very strange. It's very weird that you effectively take a class that has a shield and then you put them down at the pretty much lowest tier of any kind of tier list, because now their block is like, you're basically taking away a piece of the kit that is nullified now to every single class. There's no counter anymore. There's no like, oh, okay, like you know, warrior versus DK, we usually win that because, you know, they don't have a grab and we can just fucking hold block for 30 hours a day. It's fine. Like that's like, it's a counter matchup, right? It's like they have two options. They have a lot of AP and they can blow our shit up, or, you know, don't fight us. Like those are the two options. So it's a counter match in that regard, right? So you give them a grab. Well, so what? They just gonna block, jump, grab me and one shot me? Like, I just like, what the fuck is that about? Same thing for Sork. It's a counter matchup. Warrior versus Sork. That's a super hard counter. Like we just block all fucking day and then wait for the opening on the Grim and then grab. And then that's pretty much like, it sucks, but that's the counter, right? Just like whenever, you know, you're fighting a class like Zerker versus Sork, usually Sork wins that because Zerker's like lacking in protected movement in terms of awakening. Succession, that's a whole different fucking mess of garbage. But like awakening movement is not super protected unless you're just wasting your entire stamina bars trying to stay 40,000 yards away. That you could do that. But if you're playing close up, I mean, you're gonna get CC'd out of Feral Stampede, you're gonna get CC'd out of Shake Off, you're gonna get CC'd out of fucking Giant Sleep, you're gonna get CC'd out of Predatory Hunt, you're gonna get like, it doesn't work. I'm just trying to examine this from like all angles and like be devil's advocate, because I'm honestly like, grabs for everybody on paper, it like doesn't sound like the worst thing ever, because it solves some issues, but it creates a lot more issues and not enough solutions. And realistically, I feel like these changes make no sense in the grand scheme of things, because your game still doesn't fucking function right. Your game literally does not function right. You are creating these ridiculous changes and working on shit that does not make any sense when your game still does not work. It does not function as intended. It is not even remotely ready, in my personal opinion, for changes like these, because it's not going to make a lot of sense, especially if the game doesn't work. Even if the game was working functionally, this is going to be broken in a lot of different ways until you get the whole things ironed out. And like I said, I have very little faith in you to actually iron out these fucking changes. So I'm not really sure how to even feel about this, but just stop with these weird updates. Just like, stop. Just leave the game alone. Leave the game. Give us content. Leave this shit for like 2 years later. Like give me like 2-3 years. Like fix the game first, and then we can start talking about this nonsense right here. This is ridiculous. No, this is nothing. You need to just halt this garbage. Focus on the scholar thing, because that bitch is crazy and like she's ass and like cool at the same time. But like you need to focus on that shit. This is not nothing. No, stop this. We've gotten to a point in BDO where like things are kind of like stabilizing to a degree. They're making some decent changes for console. They're making some efforts towards PC. talking about servers, next gen port for us and things like that. Like, we're on a good track. And then you just fucking wrench in the machine. it's all over the place now. You got everybody in a panic, freaking out over these grabs. You got people talking about like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose my SAs and I'm just gonna be vulnerable to forward guards. You still haven't buffed a lot of classes that really need fucking buffs. I mean, Awakening Witch is still ass in PvP. It still gets dumpstered every 5 fucking seconds. It gets grabbed by literally anything with it gets grabbed by every grab class because it has no movement whatsoever. So it's like, on top of like you suggesting right here that like classes strong move, you know, that have strong movement, right? What about the classes that don't have movement? Like, do you realize what you are trying to do? You are not ready for this. You are not that guy. You do not have the capabilities to balance this accordingly. You need to stow this garbage and leave it alone for now. If you're gonna do any balancing, worry about protections over grabbing, because grabbing is a cheap cop-out. Like, I'm not even kidding. That's a cheap cop-out. There are myriads of other options that you could do that make more sense, but giving protections to literally everybody, that shit is nonsense, because then you change the game to it is just rotating SAs, forward guards, and protected damage until somebody dies. That's not fun. You need to create something that is engaging, and then what? We're just gonna all LARP and just, you know, fucking ball rush each other, and then we're just gonna be like, yo, grab everybody. Come on, that's crazy. It's just it's not a healthy way to mix things up, and it's not a solution to the problem that nobody's dying, or like people are just like having these really unbalanced changes. And then like, well, what about archers and rangers, right? Like, what are you gonna do? Give archer a ranged fucking grab? And then like, what do you can't put a statement out like this with such a broad thing that there's no description, there's nothing. You just said add grabs to all classes, and all you have done is stirred up a fucking mess. You've just put every player either in excitement or disappointment or complete panic, and just trying to understand how this is going to function. This is not something you ever should fucking mention at any point in time, and it should not be a thing that is going to be anytime soon. I don't think you're ready for this kind of change, and as I mentioned, this is a cop-out. This is not balance. This is not a way to fix your game. This is not a way to even remotely change things for the better. This is a cheap band-aid that you are trying to pass as fucking content, and trying to pass as like, you know, trying to change up the fucking scene, when like the scene can't even get off the ground because the game doesn't work right. So how about we stop creating garbage ass mechanics and garbage ass ideas and just fix the game first, and then we can start talking about extra shit like that. You know what I'm saying? For now, let's just stow this. Hopefully, maybe you'll see this and you just let sleeping dogs sleep. You know what I'm saying? And we just move on from here. But yeah, we're not doing this. I'm not doing this. I don't give a fuck. Like, no, this is ridiculous. I'm not paying attention to this. I'm gonna pretend I didn't see this. I'm gonna tell everybody that this is fake, and everybody at PA is smoking something. I don't know what, but it's definitely nothing legal or fucking healthy. Jokes aside, yeah, this is garbage. Don't do this. Don't do this. Actually fix the game first.